All right, so this is a suggestion via a channel member. Guys, let's check it out.
Now, let's talk about that storming of the church in Minneapolis. I played footage of that last night. Just incredible scenes to see these anti-Trump, anti-ICE protesters storming a church. They were joined by Don Lemon, and here he lectures the preacher about what Jesus would really want.
What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here. Yeah. Okay, that's why we're here.
This man said, I want to be respectful. Please don't push me. Bro, get out of this man's building.
That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
I mean, the nerve of him saying, "Oh, don't
Please
touch
don't push me,"
as he gets into
Bro,
the man's personal
get
space,
out of my face,
telling
Don
him what
Lemon.
Jesus would really want. There are calls now. People are irate about this. It's like they've crossed a line, and there are calls for everyone involved in that action to be investigated, to possibly be charged.
There are Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon, head of the Civil Rights Division, is exploring the FACE Act, which is about protecting freedom to worship and religious freedom. Don Lemon and the others.
Guys, the Federal FACE Act is not exclusively about that. It's about a little bit more than that. But for this reference, yes, it's about that.
Are, of course, going to argue freedom of speech and the First Amendment, and that will run its course depending on how far they prosecute. But this did disrupt a place of worship during a time of worship. And so there is some argument there that legal scholars are saying there might be a case. I do think the Trump administration also understands the power of setting examples, like making examples of people, and you get one or two high-profile ones like this, since Don Lemon is involved. It could be a deterrent. I don't know that. That will take a long time. I think the other issue, too, everybody knows this, is Don Lemon is looking for his second act after CNN, and so he just wants to go where he thinks there's conflict and a viral story, and insofar as that goes, I guess it's working. He's in the news a lot.
Well, it's working.
Yeah, guys, first of all, whatever he was making on CNN, he's making probably 10 times that on YouTube. Just a heads up.
He's got superstar Nicki Minaj weighing into this issue. She's attacked him personally, and she also posted this image from inside the church. You can see there,
you got the young ones
like
crying,
parents
bro.
comforting their child, the terrified kids in there. She wrote, "The world is watching." Kosha Minaj has really leaned into defending Christians and Christianity. We saw her talk about persecuted Christians in Nigeria, and now churchgoers in Minneapolis.
And Don Lemon probably didn't see that coming, because you're right, superstar with many more fans online than him. She is leaning in, and it kind of links to the previous topic, too. Another example of somebody from the entertainment industry daring to buck the trend or come out in support of religion. You see them here and there, but it used to be anathema. It used to be career suicide. To do that, I guess she's too big to cancel. And it is refreshing because she does lend a different credibility to the cause. She brings a different audience that's maybe more open or willing to listen to her than somebody of the right. And
yeah, no, not really.
I think it's a good thing.
Now, we're seeing these protests ramp up, obviously.
Not Nicki Minaj's
a lot
fan
happening
base.
in Minnesota.
Because, guys, they've already started the process of canceling Nicki Minaj for not immediately kind of speaking against Trump in general, right? So just understand that's kind of what's happening here. Nicki Minaj's fan base is full of like a very specific group of people. And the fan base that she has, for the most part, curated are definitely not Trump supporters. But either way.
But also elsewhere in the country, they have a day of protest coming up in the next 24 hours. How do you see that impacting the midterms? It's months away, but does it help Donald Trump, or does it paint a picture of chaos and disunity, and is it just going to help the Democrats really get a fantastic result come November?
Yeah, you put your finger on a key question. I think I was looking at some of the polling where 67% of Republicans are fully in support of it. They want all illegals out, not just violent illegals who went on to commit violent crimes, but all illegals. That is a massive shift. The party was not there even 10 years ago. But it was something like 50 to 55% of the country actually thinks that ICE agent went too far, They see Renee Good as a little bit of a victim, even if legally that may not be the case. It's the optics of it. So that's tricky. It's pretty split, and there's a big contingent of people. It's all Democrats and independents, which are important in the midterms, that don't like this and don't like the idea of armed agents out in the streets, even if they're justified.
About 2020 and that whole summer of love we had with the BLM riots across the country, $2 billion worth of damage.
Call it a summer of love?
More than a dozen people killed, many more bashed.
Jeez.
And though I would imagine most of the country wouldn't have been supportive of any of that, it did paint a picture of chaos, and I think it helped the Democrats, and it seems like they're trying to emulate that come the midterms.
And when you get something like this, these conflicts are bound to happen, even if the ICE is in the right legally, just in the court of public opinion, they are able to make hay of it. So I think that, coupled with the economy and other issues that are maybe not going exactly as the Trump administration and Republicans want, it's going to be very, very tricky, the midterms. We don't know how it's going to go.
No, it's way too early right now. But let's have a little light relief, courtesy of Town Hall Media and Tim Walz, Tampon Tim Walz.
Okay, let's go.
I would not put it past this administration to target midnight mass services amongst folks going to worship.
Renee Good! Renee Good! Renee Good! Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people? Why are you not at Wimble every day fighting for the humanity? You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities?
It's always the way with the left. It's all about projection. They are guilty of precisely what they're accused their political opponents of doing.
Always. And Tim Walz, I think, what did he say in the debate? Knucklehead? He tends to be a knucklehead. So he did not pick the best example there, and the timing couldn't have been worse. He is in hot water. He really, this whole gigantuan level of fraud that's coming out of Minnesota while he presided over that state as governor, we are just at the tip of the iceberg of that story. And he is implicated, whether by actively being involved or just being incompetent, whatever it is, in some way he's complicit. I think he's worried about it. And you can see the panic a little bit.
Absolutely. I think the best case scenario is he's hopelessly inept and had no idea what was happening under his watch. That is the best case scenario. The other
I agree with that
option is he's complicit, and he could be facing some serious charges.
Complicit? Yeah, I don't know about,
let's talk about...
It's over, guys. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know, bro. Like, is Tim Walz, like, by default, like, complicit? Yeah, I don't think so, guys. I just think that he was just kind of running an autopilot. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. And understand this here. If you were to actually hold the same microscope we're holding to Minnesota right now under most of the other states, we'll probably find a lot of craziness, right? Even some red states. Understand this here. The reality is that's just kind of what it is. But how he is basically not trying to kind of slow down the people that are wrecking his state right now is a little bit crazy, right? But obviously what he's doing, him and the actual mayor, right? They're basically coming together and saying, you know what, hold on, listen, we need to basically support the protesters, support the protests specifically under the guise of the First Amendment, even though this does not feel very First Amendment-y, if that makes any sense here. Because listen, guys, if there's already some type of act set in place to make it so you cannot do this here, then, and you're blatantly violating it, maybe they didn't know. Because understand this here, guys, I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to geopolitics and some like of the random acts and why they existed, the last time they were utilized, all these things. I've never heard of the Federal Face Act until today. Okay, I've never heard about it. Then after some like super quick research, you start to see it, and you're just like, wow, guys. I mean, listen, it was set in place in 1994 for you to not ever do what you just did today. So yes, by default, arrest all of them. Understand, the left is more likely to do this type of thing. The right's more likely to protest, Planned Parenthood and all these other reproductive-based organizations. So, guys, where do we go from here? All right, where do we go from here? Yes, you violated a federal act that was set in place in the 90s. So you can't say that they just created it yesterday to punish you today, right? This was already in the books here. So again, I don't think any of these people knew this at all when they decided to do this. Yes, you have a First Amendment to protest, but my boys, I'm not sure you have the ability to just like break into a place. This is not like I'm trying to think of like a public place, bro, like a city hall. Like, could you do this in a city hall? Yes. Should you? Probably not, right? But can you? Yes, in the public areas that are not blocked off by doors or they're not locked, etc. Can you do this in a post office? Sure, federal property, right? I mean, who can arrest you there? The postal police only. That's it. Even though police officers try to do this, that's not the point. Postal police. All right. So the moral of the story here is that, listen, if there's something like a church and they're having service, okay, at the very least, be respectful of what they themselves are holding dear to themselves. Okay. It is not your place to go in there and terrorize people. All right. Terrorize the young ones. It is not your place at all under any circumstance. I'm sorry. Again, this is kind of why I've been saying kind of recently, like, bro, listen. The moment you start infringing on other people's rights while you're protesting, utilizing your First Amendment, I don't longer care about your cause. All right? Like, I can't. You're protesting for the sole purpose because you have the ability, the right as an American citizen to basically protest. Congratulations, do your thing. But the moment you infringe on someone else's rights, your cause is irrelevant. I'm sorry. I don't care about it. And I don't think anyone should seriously care about the cause of someone who is absolutely violating other people's rights while attempting to stand up for justice. Guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to promote it over here, guys. But if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies. And I mean hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with many TV shows. Currently, we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings. And we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry, right? Listen, like and subscribe.